Evening once again from the sports desk. The Netball World Cup trophy arrival ceremony has just taken place in Durban. The prize landed at the King Shaka Airport earlier today ahead of the global tournament, which starts at the end of July in Cape Town. eNCA's Hloni Mtimkulu had the privilege of witnessing the historical moment, and she joins us now live once again to just talk to us about what it is that took place, of course, at the airport. Good evening once again, Hloni. So all things considered, it was a successful ceremony and the trophy arrival, yes?
Yes, Morana, I would say it was successful in terms of drumming up excitement in KZN for what is going to happen over the next 4 or 5 days. The trophy tour starting today and ending in KZN on the 29th of May. It will go tomorrow to the south coast, I heard in Port Shepstone, and then it will go up back to the north coast, and I think it will go more inland over the last 2 days as well. So there was a fair amount of excitement here. Lots of school children that were bussed in, KZN netball clubs here that were also here as well. So, I mean, KZN is a big netball province in terms of interest. We know that the captain of the netball team, the Proteas, is from KZN in Hammersdale. We know that we spoke to Precious Mtembu earlier, a former player. She's also from the region as well. So there's definitely excitement, there's interest. There's interest, and people know that there is netball in this province, and they are interested in what will be happening come Netball World Cup time, and they are also happy to be part of festivities. We said earlier that a lot of the Netball World Cup talk has obviously been around Cape Town because they are the host, and Joburg just is kind of where federations are and where a lot of sport happens. But to involve all the other provinces in this tour, a 6-week tour that will go around the country, not just concentrating on the big cities or the big or towns. So that will be important as well for Netball SA, just to kind of drum up interest, not just where we expect netball, where we expect sports to be played, Morana. So definitely a success, I would say, just in terms of getting that excitement going, getting the media here going as well. We'll see over the next few days as well what does happen and who turns out, if there will be more people and more kids maybe that turn out, more just people around that are just interested in the Netball World Cup as well that do turn out, Morena.
To remain standing for the singing of the African Union anthem.
The microphone for Morena Mutupi. Hloni, I'm going to pick up with you. I mean, this is just such an exciting time for South Africa. It's really going to put us on the map for netball. What's the next step now? Where are we heading as we get closer to this?
Yeah, Sally, just going back to putting South Africa and Africa on the map, it's just important to note that, of all the 15 previous editions of the Netball World Cup, it's all been Australia or New Zealand that have won it. It's all been Australia and New Zealand that have just been the nations that are there. Only Trinidad and Tobago in one of the editions won the Netball World Cup. We haven't had a country from Africa that was hosting it. South America, for example, hasn't hosted. North America, there's no interest there. So I think just in terms of wanting to make the sport a little more accessible to other regions besides the Commonwealth, especially, say, England, Australia, New Zealand. This is one big step, I think, in letting Africa know that you are part of the netball picture. But just in terms of this trophy tour and where it goes to next, as I said, until the 29th of May, it will be in KZN, and then it moves up to Gauteng. We know that the Tshwane Sports Confederation has plans around the netball trophy tour there, and then it goes to Mpumalanga and Limpopo, and then inland to Free State and the Northwest, before it starts coming down to Northern Cape, the Eastern Cape towards the end of June, and then into July. and then it docks in the Western Cape from the 4th of July up until the 12th, where of course we know that the World Cup does begin on the 28th. So it's definitely an exciting time in terms of that. There will be fan viewing areas when the World Cup gets underway. We were talking earlier with Morena about making the World Cup accessible. So they want to have fan parks around the different provinces. The CEO of Netball South Africa was talking about that, one of the reasons why they decided that they need to take it to as far around the country as possible with the 9 provinces over the 6 weeks is because they have 52 districts, and not all players are able to make it into the cities and then to be selected, for example, to play club netball and to be recognized and move further on up. So for them to see this trophy, to feel like they're part of the Netball World Cup experience that South Africa and Africa is having, is definitely a big deal. So a good step. And I think the other thing to note is that it's not just 1 or 2 days of a tour. All these are going over 4 or 5 days. So that will give provinces time to spend with the trophy. Obviously not enough, but that's the decent amount of days to spend with the trophy to have as many people as possible experience Africa's first Netball World Cup. Sally?
Yeah, absolutely wonderful. Very exciting time for South Africa. Hloni Mtimkulu, thank you so much for bringing us up to speed there. It's going to be all about netball. And you know what? Netball is such a popular sport, and many people started at school and they go on to play it as adults for fun, getting together, a really wonderful way to stay fit. Thank you so much, Hloni. And that's